Well, hello there. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to Fridays with Sandy. That would be Sandy Kreisberg, the founder of HBSGuru.com. Hi,
Shalom,
Sandy.
everybody, and happy Hanukkah.
We have a candidate, unusual candidate in many ways, from India. He is a graduate of Pune University. More importantly, he is currently working at E&Y in their strategy and transaction practice. But most impressively, he was the founder and managing partner of a boutique consulting firm for 4 years before he joined E&Y. He scaled that firm to over 250 clients and a 10-member team, achieving pretty good profit and pretty good growth, which was an incredible accomplishment, and really consulted with a wide range of industries from healthcare to multinationals and even veterinary clinics. Before that, he worked as an associate at PwC in India as well. So he has a 740 GMAT, and his GPA, he really graduated way at the top. And he is aiming for Dartmouth Tuck, UVA Darden, Cornell, UCLA, and
Okay, let's just take a breath and
yes,
let's summarize what we got here. We've got a very talented Indian student. He's 28. He's working right now at Ernst & Young, which is in their strategy department, which, John, is that a better place? Is that a more selective place than Ernst & Young as an accountant?
totally. And incidentally, Ernst & Young outside the U.S., no matter where you are, would be selective.
Right. Yeah. In America, working for Big Four accounting firms is not considered ultra selective, although
Yes,
it's a good job.
it's still a good job.
And then he founded a family boutique consulting firm. So this guy's done a lot. And then he's got a 740 GMAT and a graduated, first in your class or something, or did I miss that? You
No, it's
went
a
to
first class with
Pune.
distinction.
First class
First
with
class
distinction. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so why do you want to go to business school at all?
I want to transition into a consulting role at an MBB firm, into a generalist consulting role at an MBB firm. That is the reason why I'm pursuing business school right now.
Am I crazy? Couldn't you get a job in at a top four consulting firm right now just based on this resume?
I have tried that in the past, and it did not really work out.
I'll take your word for it. So the takeaway from that, John, is in India, you really need a credential.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think in general, I mean, let's face it, these firms recruit heavily at the top schools, all the schools that he's applying to. So, and you get an internship, you get a job offer, bingo. Incidentally, these consulting firms really like to look over candidates in a summer internship before offering them a job. So it's almost as if they want that look. So I think that's another reason why you want to go get an MBA.
Yeah, they view the MBA as a matter of as the ultimate of their educational credo, which is, can you sit still, take notes, and spit it back? That's what they like. They view education as a test of your ability to sit still, take notes, and spit it back. Those are valuable qualities to employers, much more valuable than innovation and entrepreneurship and everything else. They're just looking for very obedient and talented foot soldiers. Am I being too cynical, John?
Oh, maybe a wee bit, but now should we point out that Amara has some round one responses, and then in round two he's planning to apply to Columbia and Chicago Booth, and you're going to convince him to apply to Harvard.
Absolutely apply to Harvard, man. I don't know what it would be great for you, and it's a powerful credential worldwide, and particularly in India.
I know. Right.
I don't have to convince you. Yeah. And it's
Definitely.
not a hard application, given that you've done so many others.
Got it. Okay.
Well, let's take a sidebar here, sideline meeting, as they say at the World Economic Forum. The Harvard essay is, what else would you want us to know about you? What would you write? You with me? The Harvard
I'm with you, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I know. The question, I know about the question also, definitely. I will have to give it a little bit of thought, but I can write about the extra curricular activities and the experiences that I have. Something that is not mentioned on my resume is one is I've played sport cricket nationally as well as internationally. So I have played for my local club team in India as well as I've traveled to Sri Lanka playing that sport. So that sport has inculcated a lot of qualities in me.
Why is playing cricket important to Harvard? How would you make it sound like it's something they should be interested in?
It's not about cricket being important, but it's the qualities that have come to me from cricket. One is the ability to perform under pressure. So,
that's
from a young age.
That's any sport. I would stick with the fact that it's a team sport. That you're a leader. The team sport's
right.
critical. Okay.
Right. Definitely.
That you were a leader. So
right.
That's what I would say. I would say one of the things I'd like you to know is how cricket has been an educational experience for me, aside from developing love of the game.
Right.
I managed to become a leader and help, and I had people who mentored me, and I was able to mentor others. So that's I'd like you to know about the role cricket played. Okay, so that's one part of a Harvard answer. What could be another part? What else?
The other part is another extracurricular activity that I would like to speak about. So during my college time, I've cycled to the world's highest motorable road in India, so which is Khardongla, which is situated at about 18,000 feet above sea level. And I've cycled that entire path at the age of 18. So that required a lot of perseverance, persistence, a lot of preparation that went into it. And it was not easy, doing that entire journey over 10 days.
Hey, buddy, I'm impressed. John, you think Harvard cares about that?
I think I care more about the entrepreneurial venture that he founded and became managing partner.
I think cricket covers that, okay? You're a sportsman. You're not a nerd. Cricket is more important to them because it's a team sport. The fact that it would be like someone saying, I ran a marathon in 4 hours. So what?
Okay.
For the record, I ran a marathon in 4 hours, and I'm never doing it again.
Okay. Got it. And the next thing that I can speak about is my entrepreneurship experience and how we were able to build it from scratch, grow the team, acquire the clients, manage the entire dynamics.
Yeah, John, that's bingo, right?
Yes, totally.
Yeah, they love that.
That's a big deal.
What would you say? What are some of the lessons you learned about what you're like as a leader and what areas you're good? Here's an interview question. What, in terms of your leadership skills, what leadership skills do you find that you have experience with and are comfortable with, and what are what they call developmental areas? So what do you need to do to grow as a leader, and what do you think your current strong points are? That would be a mighty hard HBS interview question.
So starting with what I'm currently strong with, I think I am able to influence people as a leader. So I'm able to influence not just my employees, but also my clients take the right decisions. That is something that I'm good with right now.
Yeah. What do you think you're good at that? Could you break that down? How do you influence people?
So it's trying to understand what they need and coming to a mutually acceptable solution where we try to understand what the exact requirement is.
Yeah, you're being a little wishy-washy. Trying to Okay, I say this every week. Leadership at HBS is the foundation is my ability to lead different people in different ways. I say this every week, and it's a great foundation. John, are you being skeptical or?
No, I think that's true.
Yeah.
So I think you want to talk about, the entrepreneurship opportunity as a learning opportunity for you to lead a team.
Definitely.
Now, one thing I have a question here about this. Now, you obviously left this firm you founded to go to E&Y.
Right.
And if I had to guess why you did that, is because you weren't able to achieve the growth that you initially anticipated. Am I right?
Right.
So I almost would talk about that experience as almost a failure, in the sense that you weren't able to achieve the growth goals that you originally laid out, and then what you learned from it, but also what you accomplished. But in other words, it's not just what you accomplished, it's more of a challenge that you surmounted and basically said, I'll learn more, maybe, and I'll learn different things.
Make that individual and specific. What did you learn from founding? This is another, let's say, this could be an interview question, particularly for HBS, if I'm trying to convince you to apply there. What did you learn from? So the interview question might be, what did you learn, and what was surprising about founding your own firm?
So there were two things. One
Good
is,
at, and what did you need, and how come it didn't work out?
Yeah. So the two things that I learned. So I'll start with what I learned at my firm. One is definitely about ownership and accountability, where at the age of 22, you realize that, okay, the buck stops with me. I can't go back to my senior saying that, okay, this is the problem and how do I come up with a solution? I have to, even if I don't know, I have to use my resources and come up with a solution for the client. So ownership and accountability is definitely one of those things that I learned from my firm.
Make it punchier. Okay, you're sounding like you're reading off a deck. You go. One of the things I learned about founding your own firm is there's nowhere to go, man. If something goes wrong, you got to fix it. You can't call the AAA, if you know what that is.
You can't call Ghostbusters either.
Yeah, right. So that would be a punchy way to say it. What did you learn about yourself as a leader?
About myself as a leader, I think I learned how I could inspire and tell my employees, or convince my employees to follow the same trajectory as I am. So founding a startup and working in a startup means that there's a lot of times where you have a lot of deadlines, a lot of extra work, and the schedule is not really.
You're not saying you're just talking, man. That's not a bullet. That's not a deck. You go. Another thing I learned as a leader is I was too nice. I learned that you got to say, leaders say no, and leaders have to be tough.
Got it. Okay.
That was something that was, that was something I knew, but I really had never experienced and internalized.
Got it. Okay.
Is there anything else you learned from that experience?
No, I think that's it. That's about it right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One more thing. One more thing was the power of the network and the relationships that I've built during that time.
Yeah. One of the things I learned is you don't start from scratch. Even when you start your own firm, I was relying on that network is that network, my private networking and networking. What a lot of a leader does is networking. So one of the things a leader does is he's working outside the group. He's out there. Good.
So after McKinsey, Bain, BCG, what would you like to do?
So in the medium term, I see myself growing within the firm to a partner level role at an MBB firm.
Oh, okay.
So that is the medium term plan for me. And post gaining that experience, I wish to come back to India, use the international experience as well as the MBB experience to start a consulting firm in India again, advising Indian startups as well as Indian small and medium enterprises to shape up their global aspirations, to grow globally.
BCG, etc., and McKinsey, they have a presence in India, don't they?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yes.
Given that your end goal is to start a consulting firm in India, wouldn't you be better joining the Indian outposts of those major firms? You could do better job networking, etc.
I think networking wise, yes, but I think there's a lot to learn from the other offices also, from a lot of international practices, best practices. That is what I hope to gain from the international offices of these firms.
Yeah, that sounds okay. John, do you think that's valid?
Yeah, I do, because I think that the you know, if you go to India, you're going to just be surrounded by other Indian consultants, where here you'll see a greater variety of people and clients probably.
All right. Here's a question I always ask. Name some role models. Who's like, can you point to someone who's had a career like the one you want? That's not necessary, but it's sure helpful.
The same career path that I have
No, just a
in
role
mind.
model. If you know someone with the same career path, that's very valuable. Yeah, let's hear about it. But if you don't, that doesn't mean what you're trying is impossible.
I don't have someone in mind right now as a role model.
Yeah, so you might want to, you know,
Who are your role
someone
models?
that you
Who are
greatly
your role
admire.
models from a wider perspective?
Yeah.
Who are people you just admire for any reason?
So multiple people. One has been one of the professors who's had a great impact on me. So he's another chartered accountant who's also teaching as well as running his own consulting firm. So a blend of both. So he's had a great impact on me and has shaped me as a curious person. Not
Yeah,
really.
that guy's important because that guy was able to start a consulting firm in India, right?
Right.
How does his work? Is it specialist or is it a general strategy consulting firm?
No, it's a specialist firms, but it's more focused towards taxation advisory right now.
Yeah, I missed the last part of that. It's more focused on what?
It's focused on taxation advisory for Indian clients.
It's a tax consulting firm, right?
Tax consulting firm, right.
Yeah, that I believe. Okay, that's easier than a general consulting firm, don't you think, John?
Yeah, that's true.
Particularly since taxes are hyper local.
Right.
Well, mostly I take it back. There's some international taxation. Good.
Sandy, let me ask you a question. So we have a candidate here who has a 740 GMAT, which is the median GMAT now at Harvard Business School, but he's a male Indian, and he's not a graduate of the Indian Institute of Technology or let's say
John, I'm going to answer your question with a question. How much do you think it would make a difference if he got a 760?
I don't think it would make a difference.
I think you've answered the question.
Yeah, probably. But you know, a lot of consultants would advise someone in.
How many times have you taken it?
I've taken it 4 times now. So I started with a 690. I had a 720, then a 710, and then a 740.
That's good enough.
Yeah, I think the question of whether there's a difference between a 760 and a 740 is a very interesting one. Unfortunately, I'm not as sanguine as you are that there's no difference. The schools just might do it for their own internal metrics. They go, look, we know there's no difference. I like the 740 guy. I like the 760 guy. Who knows which one of those guys is going to work out? What's the argument against taking the 760 guy? Do schools ever think that way, John?
Well, I think there are other variables here. You know, one of them is Pune University, right? Because if you went to an IIT and one of the best ones, or you went to the Indian Institute of Science, which is generally ranked #1 among the India's top 10 universities, maybe that 740 GMAT is perfectly okay. Also, it might be perfectly okay if you're not an Indian male, where the competition is very severe because there's so many Indian males in the applicant pool.
You're making a
I know I'm making a case to go and take the test again, but I really don't think. I mean, really, what the heck is 10 or 20 more points going to make a difference? I hate to even acknowledge that it can make a difference.
It's not going to make any difference, except the schools are selfish and self-interested, and it makes a difference there.
Yeah, it could. So what do you think his chances are at Harvard Business School?
Indian male is a very, very, very competitive cohort. Let's start with that.
Right.
Indian male, Ernst & Young is a very, very, what you need to get into Harvard Business School, Big Four, you need, I don't know, I think his chances of being interviewed are like 30%, 35%.
That's pretty good. Yeah. What about Chicago Booth and Columbia? Are they a little bit higher or just the same or maybe even lower?
I think Columbia would go for the numbers. They'd go for the 740, they'd go for the first class. And, you know, and everything else is not too shabby, but they're known to be, you know, sweethearts for big numbers. You know, they,
Yes.
we go for guys with big numbers. We go for applicants with big numbers. So that would be Columbia. I think your chances there would be good. You think there's a real difference between going to Columbia and Darden or Cornell, John?
I mean, well, if you like New York City, and I think New York is the center of the universe, Columbia is a great place to be. On the other hand, you know, the best, really, you know, the teaching quality and the bonding that would occur at Darden far exceeds Columbia. Columbia, you're going to get a lot of uneven teaching, and because it's in the city and people are distracted and go into their apartments, the bonding.
Columbia is a license to hustle. I've said that before.
Yeah.
So is Harvard.
Yeah.
It's a license to hustle. You go there and you've got to make it happen. You've got to network. You've got to get good grades. You've got to endear yourself to employers. You're looking for a job on day one. Now, that is true at all business schools, but particularly true at Columbia. Okay, well, it's been thanks for being such a good sport. Let us know.
Mark, good luck. We know obviously we know you're going to get in because you've already gotten into a couple programs that are really great schools.
Apply to Harvard, man, and apply to Wharton.
There you go. I don't know. The schools you've gotten into, I favor Darden by far. So maybe that's because I live in Charlottesville. Maybe that's because I actually put a high premium on the quality of the teaching. And Darden is lights out because you can't get tenured without teaching quality at Darden.
Noted. Okay.
Well, listen, Omar, good luck to you.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you so much, Sandy.
Let us know how it all works out, all right?
Definitely.
And
It has
Sandy,
been a pleasure speaking to you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for all of you out there on your MBA journey, good luck. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants.